Azakhana-e-Zahra. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Syeda, Rida, Zehra, and I'd like to welcome you all to another Ramadan Storytime with Bab Ul Ilm Society. Today's story is about a mind-blowing miracle that occurred in the year that the Prophet Muhammad was born. It is a true manifestation of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it will also reveal to us why is the year that the Prophet Muhammad was born known as the year of the elephant. So, without further ado, let's begin the story. Now, all the way back in 570 AD, in the year the Prophet was born, but a little before that, there's a country that neighbored Arabia known as Yemen, and the ruler of that country was a man by the name of Abraha. Now, during these times, the Arabs who were next door to Abraha, they greatly respected the Kaaba. It was their holy site, they went there for pilgrimage, and in general, they attributed a lot of value to it. So when Abraha learned about the level of respect that the Arabs gave the Kaaba, he decided to build a church in Yemen. So he gathered his people, they got to work, and he built a church in Yemen, in Sana'a. And when it was done, he told the Arabs, leave the Kaaba, come to my church, come to this church in Yemen instead. But the Arabs, they greatly respected the Kaaba, so they ignored Abraha and continued to go to the Kaaba. This made Abraha very, very angry, and he decided once and for all to go to Mecca and destroy the Kaaba. So he gathered his armies and they set towards Mecca. He camped outside the city and sent a few of his people inside to capture the camels. So of all the camels that they captured, 200 belonged to Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib is a name that we may have heard before, and that's because he's the grandfather of Prophet Muhammad. And at this time, he was also the chief of the Quraysh tribe. So after capturing these camels, Abraha sent an officer, a messenger from his side to the people, and that messenger came and he said that Abraha says he doesn't want to hurt you, he just wants to destroy the Kaaba. In response, Abdul Muttalib responded that we don't want to fight Abraha either, and as far as the Holy Kaaba is concerned, it was the house of Allah and he would do whatever he pleased. So Abdul Muttalib went with some of his sons to see Abraha. Abraha welcomed him with respect and he expected Abdul Muttalib to ask him to not destroy the Kaaba. But instead, Abdul Muttalib asked him to return the camels he had taken. Abraha was shocked. Here, the Kaaba was about to be destroyed and Abdul Muttalib only asked about his camels. In response to Abraha's remarks, Abdul Muttalib gave his famous response. I am the owner of the camels. The house too has a master who looks after it. On hearing this, Abraha shook his head and proudly replied, there is none powerful enough to stop me. So after this meeting, when Abdul Muttalib returned, he told the people of Mecca to go to the hills for safety. He then prayed to Allah to protect them and the Holy Kaaba from any harm. So the next morning arrived. Abraha prepared to march towards Mecca. All of a sudden, a flock of birds appeared from the side and in the sky. These were tiny birds and they held tiny stones in their claws and in their beak. So each bird had 3 stones. These birds started to drop the stones and all these tiny pebbles showered on the army and began to destroy it. The army was getting destroyed and it was even killing the elephants. Abraha's army had a lot of very strong, powerful elephants, but the pebbles were destroying everyone. One of the stones hit Abraha on his head and he was so frightened that he ordered the remaining men in his army to retreat at once. Many of the men died on the way back, and Abraha himself was very injured when he reached Sana'a and died a painful death. This is one of the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he destroys such a powerful army with such a strong, powerful animal like an elephant from the tiniest of creatures with even tinier pebbles. This event is mentioned in the Holy Quran in Surah Fil, ayah 1-5. In the name of Allah, the most kind, the most merciful, have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the people of the elephant? Did he not cause their plan to go astray? He sent down upon them flocks of birds who showered them with stones of baked clay. So they became like straw eaten up by cattle. And that's why this year is known as the year of the elephant. So this is the story of Abraha and the people of the elephant. I hope you enjoyed today's story and I hope you learned something new. If you did, and if you enjoyed the story, if you learned something, please leave it down in the comments. We'd love to read about it. And that is our story for today. Thank you all so much for listening. Take care of yourself and those around you. Khudafis!